Okay. Thank you for meeting with me.
No problem.
So first of all, you already signed a consent form saying you're okay with me interviewing you
Yeah.
and having it, part of it, be shown in class. And you're okay with me taking notes.
Whatever you gotta do.
Okay, I won't share these with anyone. Strictly between me and you.
Perfect.
Confidentiality.
Perfect.
So what brings you in today?
There's just a lot of like stuff going on. Like just graduated college not too long ago, and now officially like going to the adult world, like bills, job, moving out on my own, and there's just a lot going on all at once.
True. So what would you say is your biggest stressor out of all of those things?
I think just all of those things in general, and like trying to find the happy medium to do everything that I want to do and like balance everything.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay. What one of those things do you think you have the most trouble with balancing as of right now?
As of right now, well, I work third shift, so balancing like getting enough sleep during the day, but also wanting to have a social life because it's summer and like my friends have normal jobs and like normal 9 to 5 hours.
Right.
So it's especially now that it's summer, like I said, and they want to do stuff outside and more frequently than in the winter. So that's been a struggle.
True. You said work was one of your big problems.
Yeah.
What specifically about work do you think is one of the hardest aspects?
Well, just like being on like probation for like over a year is kind of stressful because they can like fire me for no reason at any given point. Like being under the microscope, and like always having to do everything right, even though everyone makes mistakes. So wanting to make sure I do a good job.
You're saying, what I'm picking up is that there's a lot of pressure to perform.
Yes.
At work.
Those are good words.
Okay, so pressure at work, not being able to socialize as much as you would like.
Yeah.
Those are two big things.
Yeah, and not like having every like weekend off.
Right.
So it's hard to schedule like trips, weekend trips, and stuff like that.
What is your schedule like right now?
So it's a rotating schedule.
Okay.
So I work 4 days on and 2 days off.
Okay.
So it obviously changes every 4 days. And I'll get a weekend. I think it works out like every 6 weeks. I'll get the true Saturday or Friday night and Saturday night off.
So I guess that's a pro.
Yeah.
For some reasons.
Yeah, I guess.
You think there's more pros than cons in your schedule right now, or do you kind of like it, or you kind of hate it?
I think it could be a lot worse. Being, I think third shift is a lot better than second shift.
Third shift is better than second shift. Why do you think that?
Because second shift, the hours are from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. So if I got done on time, and then I would go to bed, fall asleep whenever, and then I'd wake up, and then I might do something productive like grocery shopping or laundry, and then there'd be like a couple hours before I have to go to work.
Okay.
So scheduling a social life for second shift would be a lot more difficult than sleeping and scheduling a social life for third shift.
Second shift is like the middle of the day.
Yeah.
It's
the middle of everything.
You get like a median at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got work as an issue. We got social life as an issue.
They're trying to like just keep up with friends and like stay in the loop and.
Right. How has like keeping up with family been? Is that easier or harder?
Kind of about the same. Just with summer, there's a lot of like family events going on, like birthday parties, family vacations, and stuff like that. So it's just hard to find when my schedule works with their schedule.
True. Okay. So work, social life, Do we have any special relationships that we're trying to pursue?
Nope.
No.
None of those.
And is that due to work?
Maybe, yeah, that could be some underlying issues.
Okay. We can dive into that later. That's okay.
Next session.
Okay. So work, social life. Was there anything else that I'm missing?
I kind of brought up like moving out on my own and bills,
Right,
and
okay.
my parents are selling their house, so they're moving 2-ish, 3 hours away, so that'll be a little different. But trying to buy a house, that's stressful.
You're trying to buy a house, or your parents are?
Well, my parents are trying to sell their house, but I'm trying to buy a house.
You're trying to buy a house.
Like in real life, trying to buy a house.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Where?
Like West Dallas, Tosa,
Okay.
like the Milwaukee.
Same area.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about
Let's rewind.
you moving out.
Mhm.
Did your parents take it really hard, or were they really supportive of you moving out and finding your own place?
Well, of course, they're parents, and I'll always be their little child, and they'll never want to see me grow up. But they were trying to sell their house, so I had to figure something out since I live or work in the area.
Right.
But I'm only like 15 blocks away, so
Okay.
I go over there and every once in a while and take some groceries, go over for dinner. And
Right. So you would say that it was a fairly easy transition for you?
Yeah.
Since you're not going all that far?
Yeah.
Okay. So how has being on your own changed your like daily living? Like, do you think it's harder, or do you kind of like having more responsibility, like having to get groceries or having those bills to pay?
Well, no one likes to pay bills.
Right.
So that's never fun. But I guess living on your own, you like can't ask anyone for a favor. Like, oh hey, you're gonna be home before I am. Could you do whatever? Like
Right.
start dinner or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
So
It's understandable.
it's just a little adjusting.
Yeah. But you would say it was, for the most part, like pretty easy to.
Yeah, I mean, it was easy, but it was obviously a big step. It's not like in college where you have 3 other roommates
Right.
and you're living on your own and have those bills and everyone's there to remind each other or pick up the slack if you're gone.
Okay. Alright. So we went over moving. We went over work a little bit. Maybe we can go back into work a little bit more.
Okay.
Do you think you have really good relationships with people at work? Any conflicts that you've encountered? Or stuff like that?
I guess going off like the personal relationships, there's a couple other people in the same boat as I am, like going through probation, like I said, at the exact same time. So we get along really well and understand the struggles and like having to pick up the slack, and if no one wants to do anything, we get stuck with the dirty work.
Right.
So, but I guess some conflicts. I guess it's obviously a type A job style, like everyone likes to be in control. So everyone has their own way of doing things. So being the low man on the totem pole, you really have to confine to your supervisor's way of doing things, even though if you get to the finish line, it doesn't really matter how you get there as long as you get there correctly.
Right. Okay.
So I guess I've gotten into a few debates and discussions where I probably should have bitten my tongue and just been more of like a yes man and not second guessing and questioning them.
Well, I'm glad that you stood up for your viewpoint and didn't just go with the flow.
Thank you.
I think that shows character. So you're saying that you feel like you don't really have that much power in your current position?
Yeah.
In work?
It's a good words.
Okay. So where do you want to be in the future with your job? Do you think you want to stay in this specific spot you're at, or do you want to expand and try different things?
I mean, I'm definitely not against trying different things, but it hasn't even been a year.
Right.
So thinking about moving or switching jobs or completely like moving out of state and finding something else is not really an option, just because I think it would look terrible on a resume.
Right.
Like quitting
Just
or
quick, okay. Mm-hmm.
unless something like happened and I was offered something, but not really.
Right.
I think that staying there at least like 3 or 4 years would be ideal. So nothing in the near future.
Okay. So let's go to the future then.
Okay.
Okay. So say you spend your ideal amount of years, like let's say 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably a good solid number.
Okay.
So say in 7 years, you've been working with the same department.
Yeah.
And you finally think you're ready to move on to something. What would your ideal job be?
Well, I mean, if I'm still there after 7 years, then obviously I'll have more power. Like you said, like I won't be the low man on the totem pole.
Right.
So it would be a completely different, like, view of the department, or I'd get treated differently, and I'd have people underneath me, and I wouldn't have to get stuck with all the dirty work.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I feel like a family might be involved by then, or like a husband or boyfriend, a serious boyfriend. So I think there'd be a lot more
Things to consider.
Yeah, instead of just what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm not against anything or changing, but it's hard to. I mean, the department has a lot of options or things where I could join like different task force or like the K9 unit, or go into drugs and do the metro stuff, or do detective work, or become like a supervisor and a sergeant.
Okay.
So I think it could go either way.
You have a lot of roads to go
so
down.
there's like not just like one thing that would be like I want to do that.
Okay, that sounds good.
Oh, it's fun.
That it is. Okay, so we dove into a little bit of work.
Yes.
Dove into a little bit of moving out.
Mhm.
Should we dive into a little bit of social life?
Sure.
Okay. So, what would you think would be the strongest part of your social life? Like your relationships or staying in contact with people? Do you have any like things that you believe you're really good at doing? Kind of a tough question.
I guess.
I know it's probably not something you think about every day, but good things.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the bad things first? Is that easier?
Sure.
Okay, what do you not like about your social life?
Like we talked about a little earlier, it's hard to schedule. Like it's not as easy as it was a year ago. Not having responsibilities or jobs, and I can pick up on a Friday night after talking about it 2 hours before and go for a weekend to visit friends in Platteville or Madison or wherever.
Okay.
So it's a bad thing.
Okay, so not being as flexible as you used to be, you might say.
Yes.
Okay, so that's something you would like to improve on?
I guess it's not really in my control. It's with work. It's all
over time, though. You would like to.
I think. I mean, my friends are great and they're understanding, and obviously it works. But just being in this job, it's something that'll always be a thing.
A struggle.
A struggle.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just accepting that it will be a struggle, and there isn't really anything I can do about it.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure those people that really do want to be involved in your social life will find ways. Mm-hmm.
But it's frustrating, obviously, when you make plans and then you get called in at the last minute and realize that not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a con.
Add it to the list.
All right, what about a pro?
Pro.
There's gotta be a pro. We gotta find a pro.
Pro.
It can be small.
Small.
Mhm.
You tell me, Joseph.
So from what I've heard, it seems like you like to make time for the people that you do care about. And
Yeah.
It seems like
I think I'd try.
Yeah. So there's a pro. You try.
Add it to the list.
There you go. Okay. What time are we at? 15 minutes. Okay. Well, thank you for meeting with me.
You're welcome. Thank you for the insightful.
No problem.